God bless everybody watching. If you are new, welcome to the channel. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. I'm not going to force you to. My arms look really bright. But one thing that has been on my mind recently was how we like to normalize sin in other people. For example, we look up to another believer. We look up to people that believe in Christ, right? But we have to also realize that also taking someone into inspiration or being inspired by somebody, they are also imperfect. So if they do things that are iffy, if you're really inspired by them, you're gonna want to do what they do, even if it's not biblical. I feel like the main example or the main inspiration that we should have, and you might say, oh, you're over spiritualizing it, or you're thinking too much, but it should just be Jesus. We like to trick ourselves into thinking that sin is smaller than other sins, or that this sin is not as bad as another sin, but in reality all sin has the same consequence and all sin is the same. They all separate you from God. They all separate you from a relationship with God. So I feel like when having an inspiration, maybe you're inspired, maybe it's somebody on social media that you see, but you see that they're doing something that's weird, and you think, oh, because they're a believer being used by God, that I can do what they do, even if it's a little iffy. You know what I mean? So I feel like Jesus has to be the main representative because he didn't have a flaw. He didn't have a imperfection. Like I was saying, our brain likes to do this thing where it's like, oh, maybe if I do this a certain way, or if I do this like this, it won't be bad. Because he does it, because she does it. And it's even in the church today. There's a lot of things in the church. And don't get me wrong, people can still be used by God and still be sitting outside of church. It's because God is the one that's powerful, not them. So we have to really have our discernment and our spiritual eyes open and stay in the word, because there's a lot of things, like I was saying, there's a lot of things today and age that are normalized, but they're actually not good. And we could even be doing things that are normal in our brain, or we were raised like this, or our parents taught us this, but we have to unlearn these habits and allow God to clean out these habits that are bad, that are natural to us. Maybe you've been doing it all your life. Maybe you've been acting like this all your life. But when you come to Christ, when you accept Christ, things have to change. Your mindset has to change. The things you do, the way you act has to change. Make sure that we're not normalizing sin, and that we're not trying to find a loophole in sin as well. Just try to stay pure, try to stay holy, and we do that with pursuing Christ and having a relationship with God. And that when we accept Christ, we think that these problems and these situations are not going to continue to happen. And that's the problem. We think that a relationship with God is going to be all sunshines and flowers, but you have to realize that you're taking out all the unclean things and the things that you've been doing all your life, and now you have to change them because they're separating you from God. The thing is, this walk of Christ was never going to be easy to begin with, but that's how God figures out who his true followers are. We can't do this on our own. We can't fight these sinful battles, these spiritual battles with our flesh. We're going to have to allow God into the situation. We're going to have to allow God in our hearts, allow God to change the way we think, to change the way we act, to change the way we are. And that's where true transformation comes, when we're willing to give up what we've learned all our life, when we're willing to give up our unhealthy habits. And that's where Christ finds his true followers. And the thing is, God gives us free will. And a lot of people are like, how can a God send us to hell if he loves us? Our free will sends us to hell. We sometimes think that it's God, but if God gave us free will, if he's given us an option to choose him, that means that he loves us. So don't blame God for the reason why you're like this. Don't blame God for the reason why you act like this, for the reason why you think like this, when it's been your sin, the sin that's inside of you, causing you to be like this. Is if we go to God with this, then he's also to make us brand new and clean us from these things. But we just have to believe in Christ in the midst of the situation where you're trying to change. And the thing is, sometimes it's not an instant, it's not in a year, it's not in a month. Sometimes it takes more than that. But if we're just willing to be changed, if we're just willing to change, then it's different. So thank y'all for watching. God bless everybody. If you are new again, thank you for stopping by. I hope this video blessed you guys. It's a very simple video. It's not going to be too long, but thank you guys for watching, and God bless everybody.